Kathy Vick, Deeply Awake. I knew I needed to come before the camera sometime today. And I knew that that was impossible, given what was in front of me. And here I am. So that's very nice. I'm very glad. I find it soothing. And I needed the soothing. I needed to get centered and clear. And to relate a couple of notions. You know, I reached a point where I'm beginning to wonder just how much more there is to say. And of course, there is a great purpose to the unfiltered nature of this discourse. It's perfectly fine. There are many, many ways to skin a cat, so to speak. There are many of we speakers out there. There's a lot of work I did from yesterday, hours of videos that I won't release. Beautiful, beautiful. So I truly find the act of speech to be quite powerful in a way that the written word is the written word has true staying power. And these will all be transcribed, but that's its own little mission. This is a different kind of expression, and I'm just wondering how much more there might be. Because, well, the 1212s have become more and more significant to me. And this is the most significant one since the first that made it so significant to begin with. Just to review, there was a group of channeled entities I worked with in the 90s called the Teachers, and I worked with them weekly for a couple of years, and they taught me a lot, which I then promptly forgot. And there's the stuff that I remembered, I tried to find confirmation for on the outside and couldn't. I would dip into Cryon once in a while, but I didn't like his energy. And there was much that I could have availed myself to. My last metaphysical class was it was in the 80s, tarot. I took formal training in that, and that's the last formal training I took. I didn't really think that it was appropriate. And there was a lot that I was not able to access. It just didn't feel right, or I wasn't aware of it. I was supposed to just cook. And so the way that they finished their training was they were talking about ascension, and there was a gateway on the 12/12 of 94. And Cryon has talked about that date and that particular year, I guess, and that event. It was a grid event. And so they led us through a series of beautiful kind of free-form ceremonies at dawn, 12/12, and at dusk on that day, with the understanding and intention that we were assisting them in ascending. The energy was such that they were not going to be available. They were going to be just on a different different dimension is how it was presented. And the dimension was too high, it was too abstract, and it wasn't possible to have communication, is what we understood. So on the 12/12 in the sunset, we were all a little bit bummed, because there had not been enough of us around the planet to ignite a planetary ascension, was the message. There wasn't 144,000 little tribes or whatever, however quaintly we explained it to ourselves. But there weren't enough of us. And I can remember feeling a little bit, disappointed and just sort of like, shit. Now what? So the 12/12s have become increasingly more important to me, and this is the first 12/12 since that time in the 90s that that particular energy, the teacher energy, which is so strong in me anymore, is present in my life again. And it's 22 years after they did their thing. It's just really neat. And as things have progressed in my life, and it's just, it's just been fun to explore these things. I've tended to refer to the time leading up to the 12/12 as a corridor. And I find it significant. There are 12 days that lead up to this event. Okay, I like numbers. And then there are 9 days, and then the reflection of the 12 in the 21, the solstice. There it is, glittering. It's just all so pretty. And it reduces to a 12. Aw. And it's just, the whole thing is very powerful to me. And this year in particular. And I have found that during the time in the corridor, it's been hard to access the outside. It's a time to buckle down and be real steady. Be very intentional with the energy. And although expression is important, there is something to be said for stillness. Not silence, but stillness. And so I'm not exactly sure how things will progress, but I just don't really know if the processing is going to be all that necessary. So that means that if I have a love of, a need for expressing myself, I damn well better find something to express myself with that is more than just retreading old ground, right? So I can bottle it, I can bottle it up and give it to you a number of different ways. In the end, some of this is just really rock solid, doesn't change. But here's something that was very interesting today. I was thinking, I was having some fun with language, and I was thinking about this thing of how when I was really fat, I wanted to wear a swimsuit, and I just finally decided, okay, well, I think I'm just going to do this, and then if somebody has a problem with my body shape in this particular outfit, then I think they've just got a problem. And I'm going to invite them to enjoy that problem, because I think that this is fine. It's going to have to do. It's how my body is right now. So if I can't get over it, I can't expect anyone else to get over it. And if they got a problem with it, then I can understand that, but, keep it to yourself, basically. That's how I felt. So I was sitting in my chair, and I was thinking, well, if I've got a problem with someone, then I guess I got a problem then I guess I've got a problem. Okay, the law of reciprocity states that would indeed be the truth. So if I have a problem with something, then I'm the one with the problem. Wow, that's so true. And I always appreciate it when something that might be old, or perhaps even thought to be completely mastered, I don't know, does a flyby and says, yoo-hoo, you might have missed this, boom, and you get to learn something new. So, but I think that as I walk into December, feeling how I'm feeling, having just done what I've wanted to do. I mean, this has been a videotaped diary or whatever of a real big activation. Last night there was another one. I was really close. I could feel it coming on. I thought, well, that's just me feeling weird. And no, it was coming on. And I was listening to something and I had to turn it off. It was too activating. And I would, whoa, dizzy. And I went to bed and so thankful that I headed off, and I stood up saying that I'm not doing that. I'm not. You don't have my permission. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to take another ride like that. I'm not passing out. You can do it more gentle, but that's too much for me right now. And hobbled into bed and went to. Oh, thank God. And sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. You are set up for a big one. You are aware of that, right? Okay, great. Well, then do it while I'm sleeping. How about that? Because, I don't need it. I don't need it. So, it's stuff like that I know is unusual, and it might be helpful to people who are also seeking. But I think that in coming back, it's less as a seeker and more of a finder, and that's I think what I've been doing. But there's been a certain level of arguing, or questioning, or apologizing. There's been some of that. And that's understandable. It really is. You just got to trust me on that one. But I think it's at this point voluntary and not entirely necessary. So that's a shift. That's a change. Moving from a place of really needing to fit in, and really wanting to and needing to fit in, to realizing that that's just something that of course I do, and of course I don't, and that's the truth of everybody. And we're just all on a wonderful ride here. Nobody's doing anything wrong. So it leads me to think about, not wanting to edit or rethink how I presented, but realizing that not so much editing, but just focusing what it is that the commentary's on, or how it's done, that it's time for that, and it's possible. And that there might be nuggets that I can present that are not so just splayed and interconnected and interwoven, but very it's not what I do when I write, because this is very instant, entirely instant, and there's always a point to my sitting down, and there might be a theme, but good luck with that, because sometimes I don't have any kind of idea of what's going to come out. All I know is I need to do it, and I thought that, and I think at the time that was highly responsible, and now I don't think that that's as responsible, because I understand more. I think that's what I mean. So it means being more clear about what it is I have to offer, and why I'm speaking. Sure, putting sexuality into spirituality is an important aspect to the work, and not just mine, but a lot of people's. I think it's a humanizing. It's an integration of a humanity with full expression and no shame. And that includes sexuality, but it's not limited to that. But a place where there is less shame being hurled at each other. And of course, you can't do that unless you're living in an environment of it or have ready access to it. And, you know, you're talking to a professional. You're talking to I know all about shame and blame and victimhood and all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, I think this generation too, we did a lot of self-help. And you know, trying to get clear and all that kind of stuff. Women especially, we did a lot of work early on. A lot of us did. I'm really speaking for a lot of women. So this is, you know, as a group, we're daughters of women, of the women's lib. I remember this curious thing of grown women burning their brassieres in big metal barrels, and there's draft card burning and things like that. But yeah, that was happening There were rap sessions and my mom wasn't involved in that level of militancy, but she certainly was a feminist, and you know, as much as she could be in her true heart of hearts. And she raised feminist daughters, and we grew up in an era where there was birth control pills. That was brand new, and you know, our sisters tried them out. I'm 55, you know, our older sisters and cousins and stuff, but yeah, there they were, and it changed the game. And you know, it's a lid that it's been tried to be jammed down ever since, and it's trying real hard. I'm a little bit more happy-go-lucky about all of this. It's really, I was really in the doldrums about the whole Trump thing. I mean, obviously, and that's fine. There was some processing that needed to go on, and the PTSD was real, and but I mean, I really do. I feel hope. Expect wild cards. I do. I hear that a lot. Just, you know, buckle up, buckle in, enjoy the ride. Fear not. And the dark dies hard. And and I'm not saying that as an old soul going, holy shit, not again. And that's how I was feeling after Trump got elected. It was like a wall hit me. I was finally getting light around here. It was finally a little bit of unicorn glitter, and now this. Oh man, I gotta go back to work. I gotta put on the armor again. I gotta be a warrior. I gotta be a badass. I gotta defend myself and all of that stuff. And just and now I feel so much better about things, and I can talk about it because it's sustained. You know, this is it. It means that there's more light on the planet. I know that seems really ridiculous, but hear me out. You know, when the lights go on, you can finally see the mess. And you kind of look around and go, oh, holy crap. Look at how bad we let it get. Oh, no. And sure, there's shock, and hopefully we'll get out of this hypnosis that we seem to be in. I don't know what it'll take to break that. But soon enough, It'll break. I think it's the hypnosis of fear. But yeah, you turn on the lights and you get to see all of the scurrying creatures dive for the rocks because they don't want the lights to come on. And they're making big stinks, and they're really putting on a show. And it is tickling the group consciousness. Oh, holy moly. Holy moly cannoli. So there's that going on. There's 7 billion people on the planet. You think a few of them might have been involved in World War II and Nazi Germany and all that shit. It's the group consciousness just reliving. It's using a metaphor to relive something, but it's just a spasm. And expect wild cards. The light is winning. There's no other explanation, and it's just as profoundly paradoxical as that night when everything was gold and beautiful on Christmas Eve of 2012, and I realized, it was so plain. The people who I have really conflicted relationships with are dead. The people who Jerry was driving the car. I was with Sammy. I had my arms around Sammy. I was sitting in the back seat, but everything got really big, and I just realized, we don't put ourselves through these things unless we've agreed to them, and the person we're involved with, we love so much, we're willing to do things that harm the other one, or you wind up not being able to be together. Why else would you do that unless there was so much love? And so it's that kind of paradox. And it's just sort of take it to the bank true for me. It was a sort of it was a life-altering experience. And then I heard people talk about their near-death experiences where they met an angel named Michael, or they were in a golden wheat field, but that just feeling just changed them. How much love. It's unspeakable. There's no words. And but it'd be great. I thought at the time, and I've thought since, boy, if as a species we could just have a hit of that, all of us, simultaneously, all at once, because all the burdens lifted. There was no such thing as a burden. There's no such thing as a conflict. It was all love. It was all benevolence. And those were the words, the only law in the land, the only law in effect is that of benevolence. And just so beautiful and so loving and real and light. It was just golden light, liquid golden light. And then everything turned back into normal. And after something like that, or encountering a golden wheat field, or encountering someone who looks like your grandfather and who tells you a few things about God and life as you're being resuscitated or whatever, they're kind of supposed to change you, aren't they? Isn't that the idea? So that's why I've come, I think, just to make it real for me. Haven't I always said that? It really wasn't to, obviously, it's just so painful to socialize for me sometimes. And still, this will alternately fill me with self-doubt to be so honest and stuff. But there is purpose to that, and it's important, and I'm willing to do it. It's a gift I give, and I'm happy to give it as long as it's purposeful and mindful. And up until now, I really think it has been. And now I'm going to walk into this corridor, and I don't know how talkative I'm going to be, but I reserve the right to be quite quiet. And then, the solstice is always like Christmas Day, whatever. It's a +1. It's an added on bonus. So, but I never really got the interesting reflectivity and all that stuff. I mean, I got the swinging doors. On the 12/21 of 12, I got the swinging doors. How there was these, I kept seeing saloon doors with the numbers. But this is very pretty. So it's that I guess makes me unusual, and and maybe that's trying to figure out my energetic signature, trying to figure out what it is that would be helpful for you to know and what's just nonsense that you don't need to know. And I'm all for honesty, and I think the best way to have a value is to live it. If you really are not going to have shame, then prove it. So, and to do it without defense, just and with humility. Just do your thing. So, I don't know. The proof is in the pudding. But like I've said, it's a lot to take in. So, through time, I feel like I was telling my nephew tonight, I really feel like I'm complete with this project. I feel like the activation part and all of that, it's I don't know how much more there's going to be to say. So I do expect changes and good things in December, and we're not there yet, for goodness sake. But I've said this before, there's a time I was not even going to do anything more in consciousness writing. I was just going to write fiction, and I had to walk back that one. It wasn't time. But it shows you my eagerness to be finished with this project. Having declared it dead several times, and it came back to life like Frankenstein. So, I can declare it cooked, and it's gonna keep on kicking if it wants to. But I am once again exerting a conscious, just a feeling too. That it just, what more is there to say? So, with that, I guess I'll close. What more is there to say? There's a symmetry and a poetry to it all. I realized today, wow, to most people, I really would hope, to most people, it's just this thing that I do that brings me pleasure. And so isn't that cool? That's really cool. But it's not anything that's going to change their lives or alter them in any way. And I like that. And once I realized that, it's it's never been about fame. I've always felt the only thing about fame is, won't it be nice? I had a vision of being like a Leonard Cohen kind of guy in a diner, and I'm eating or refreshing before reading, and there's rain on the window pane, and I'm so gratified because I realized that the world woke up. and everything that I wrote and that I thought was so beautiful that, had a very modest readership, and it's respected. And I'm reading for an audience that night. And there were so many of those kind of random visions that I had when all this was going on. And I don't know. Maybe it was Leonard Cohen's life. Who the hell knows? But I like that feeling. Because I realize it's got nothing... an artist's gratification, it has nothing to do with having money in the bank or... that's all secondary. What matters is that what you wrote on your own in a solitary moment, upon reflection of things that struck you a certain way, and really just needed to be expressed that particular Thursday afternoon, resonate with more than just a few close friends. And in fact, you've hit a note that is universal, is recognizable, and it's beautiful. And I think that's what I've always wanted. I think that's what I'm capable of. I think that's what I've produced from time to time. And I want to do more of it. I'm just not sure exactly how. It takes a different kind of thinking to write. And it's hard for me to attend that long. It takes a great amount of effort to write anymore. So maybe to preserve that area of my brain, I think that it just is, I'll let my brain do what it needs to do. I think I just think faster. But I like what comes out when I write. There's a maturity that I just can't sense when I am speaking. I know it's there, but it's just a perception issue, I think. But when the image and the sound is removed, and there is a longer time of reaction that occurs in the silence between the words, and everything is a little bit more still. Miracles happen, and a different kind of soothing. One that I know very well, and really is like a body thing for me. So I have options. So I want to say thank you to those who I saw 24, 24, and 33, 33. I want to tell those who have been following along, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. It floors me, shocks me. And when I lose a subscriber, I get sad. Just so you know. My world doesn't end like it used to. But it really used to too. Yeah, I know. I'm neurotic writer, table for one. So, but yeah. Yeah, I'm a writer's writer when it comes to things like that. But really, the truth is, there really should only be one me. So, for my words to have reached you is tremendous, and it's something that it fills me with joy when I can sit and think about it, and I need to think about it sometimes. It's got nothing to do with how many. It's more than one. Because, I started out simply because I either had people around me who were going to be derisive or dismissive or condescending, or I heard a lot of this, "Mom, will you stop the God talk?" When I would just say, "Oh, look at that sunset." It's like, oh my God, he was so sensitive to that. So, all right, fine. Now what do I do? When I'm having all these weird things happen to me, well, I better reach out. I'm certainly not going to get on tape. So, I wrote. And it's been very helpful to be on tape. And I may actually return to writing, who knows. But there's a change in the air. And with that, what else needs to be said? I can think of nothing else, and I have things to do now. I don't want to be late. I'm so very happy, and I want to extend my happiness to you and wish you every blessing of your heart, completion, peace of mind, harmony, alignment, peace, peace, peace. Thank you.